Dear students of class 11, today's topic is countercurrent mechanism. Before going in details about the countercurrent mechanism, you have to learn the definition. What does it mean actually? Now, it is a mechanism that is present within the nephron that regulates the balance of water, ions, and pH within the blood and the interstitial fluid. Now, the loop of Henle and vasa recta plays an important role in the countercurrent mechanism. In this mechanism, the interplay occurs between isotonic tubular fluid and the blood flowing in the opposite direction through the vasa recta. The name countercurrent indicates that the opposite direction of flow of the two fluids takes place in these two parts of the nephron. Now, the countercurrent mechanism involves two separate types of subsystems. So, what are they? They are namely the countercurrent multiplier and the countercurrent exchanger. So, countercurrent multiplier. The gradient of increasing osmolarity produced by the activity of the loop of Henle in the renal medulla act as countercurrent multiplier. This makes the interstitial fluid in the renal medulla hypertonic. Now comes the countercurrent exchanger. In this system, the hypertonicity of the interstitial fluid is maintained in the renal medulla by exchanging ions between the blood and the tubular fluid. The vasa recta along the loop of Henle act as countercurrent exchanger. Now, what is the significance of the countercurrent mechanism? Due to countercurrent mechanism, the nephrons are able to produce hyper or hypotonic urine. This maintains the osmolarity of the body fluid and blood. Production of hypertonic or hypotonic urine depends upon the hydration status of the body. Now, the countercurrent multiplier mechanism in the loop of Henle that we are going to study. Before going into it, we have to know about the structure of the loop of Henle. Now, here the loop of Henle consists of the following structure. Let me discuss. Each nephron consists of a Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule proceeds further into proximal convoluted tubule. The proximal convoluted tubule further descend down and form the straight part of the proximal tubule, which further continues as descending thin limb in the medulla, and further it proceeds down into the medullary portion and it curves further in the medulla and further ascend up and form the ascending thick limb. The descending thin limb further curves and ascends upward in the medullary region and further it forms the thick ascending limb. Thereafter it continues upward and here comes the distal convoluted tubule. Further there it forms the collecting tubule and down there the collecting duct. The collecting duct further continues as the cortical part of the tubule, that is the cortical collecting duct, and the medullary region called the medullary collecting duct. Now the straight part of the proximal tubule, the descending part of the thin limb, the ascending thick limb and the distal convoluted tubule, this part together known as the loop of Henle. Now the countercurrent multiplier mechanism in the loop of Henle. It is an energy driven process that generates an osmotic gradient along certain sections of the renal tubule. The renal tubule means the renal tubule, that is the Henle's loop, and the DCT and collecting duct. The loop of Henle is bathed in the hypertonic interstitial fluid in the medulla. Its descending limb is permeable to water. Thus, water moves out of the tubular fluid, making it concentrated. This water readily enters the vasa recta and is carried away. This rapid removal of water from the interstitial fluid maintains its hypertonicity. As the fluid gradually moves through the descending limb, more water gets reabsorbed, but urea and other ions such as sodium and potassium do not get reabsorbed. This increases the osmotic concentration of the tubular fluid up to 1200 milliosmol per liter. This hypertonic filtrate moves up to the ascending limb of Henle's loop. Here, water does not get reabsorbed as its wall is impermeable to water. But a large amount of sodium and chloride ion are reabsorbed via active transport. Hence, the filtrate becomes isotonic with respect to blood. Consequently, the tubular fluid rises through the ascending limb along with active reabsorption of sodium chloride, while urea passively diffuses into the tubular fluid. The osmotic concentration of the filtrate lowers to about 100 milliosmol per liter. Some reabsorption takes place in the DCT due to action of ADH hormone. This increases the osmotic concentration of the filtrate to about 300 milliosmol per liter. It depends on the high permeability of the thin descending limb to water, the active transport of sodium and chloride ion out of the thick ascending limb, and the inflow of tubular fluid from the PCT and its outflow through the DCT. Now comes the second part, that is the countercurrent exchanger mechanism in the vasa recta. Blood enters and leaves the medulla through vasa recta, present at the boundary of the cortex and the medulla. These capillary are highly permeable to solute and the water. As the blood descends into the medulla towards the papillae via descending limb of the vasa recta, it becomes more concentrated by gaining solutes and losing water to the hypertonic interstitial fluid. By the time the blood reaches the tip of the ascending limb of vasa recta, it has an osmotic concentration of 1200 milliosmol per liter. As this hypertonic blood moves towards the ascending limb of vasa recta towards the cortex, solutes diffuse back into the interstitial fluid and the water diffuses back in the blood, making it isotonic. Now, under normal condition, vasa recta carries away only as much solute and water as it absorbed from the tubules. In this way, the high concentration of solutes is established in the interstitial fluid and the countercurrent mechanism is maintained. Now, the countercurrent mechanism has a very important role in producing hypertonic urine. As the tubular fluid passes through the descending loop of Henle, more water gets reabsorbed into the blood. But sodium and other ions do not get reabsorbed. Hence, the osmolarity of the tubular fluid increases. As the tubular fluid passes through the ascending limb, some of the sodium ions get reabsorbed, lowering the osmolarity of the tubular fluid. Finally, when the tubular fluid passes through the DCT, hormones like ADH and aldosterone cause some more of the sodium ions to be reabsorbed in the renal medulla. This increases the osmolarity of the tubular fluid again. Some amount of water also get reabsorbed from the tubular fluid, passes deeper into the renal medulla. Along with this, some amount of urea diffuses in the tubular fluid through interstitial fluid by passive transport. This leads to the release of hypertonic or hyperosmotic urine. Now, hypertonicity of the urine is measured against blood plasma.